Good morning, everyone. My name is Rizky. I'm a fourth-year PhD student. Thank you for attending this seminar. This is still a really preliminary result, so I would like to have some comment and feedback for this study. So this study has a title of Impact of Social Forestry on Deforestation in Indonesia. The study is under supervision Dr. Ben White and Dr. Chun Boma. The background, the first one is deforestation is one of the recurrent problem in Indonesia. In 2000, it has 101 million hectares, and in 2020, it's already shrinking into 92 million hectares. So it is a 9% decrease. One of the literature mentioned that the main driver of deforestation in Indonesia is plantation, either palm oil, timber, or small mixed plantation. And that implies that the role of local communities on deforestation. One of the reason is more than 20,000 villages in Indonesia located either in inside or close to the forest. They have a population of 50 million people, and 1/5 of them are categorized as poor people. Departed from those issues, then Ministry of Forestry and Environment, they introduced social forestry scheme. This social forestry is a forest management in a state or non-state forest, which is managed by local or indigenous or customary communities. So the purpose of the social forestry, they improve the people welfare, the people surrounding the forest, and also achieving environmental outcomes, which is to manage the forest sustainably, and also socio-cultural dynamics. So there are 5 schemes of social forestry in Indonesia. Community plantation forest, village forest, customary forest, forestry partnership, and community forest. The difference of each scheme is on the maximum allocated area, and then the duration, the permit duration, forest location, and also the applicant. Based on its name, we can guess that each applicant has different characteristics. In this study, we focus on those 2, village forest and customary forest. Village forest is started in 2009. It is needed a village as an institution to propose the area of the forest. And the maximum allocation for village forest is 5,000 per village. And the permission duration is 35 years. With annual evaluation, and then based on the 2020 data, is already 1.6 million hectares in 947 villages already been acknowledged as a village forest. And then the second one is customary forest. Customary forest is only it only can be applied by customary or indigenous people. And then it started in 2016. It's really, until now, the progress is still really limited with 40,000 hectares in 66 villages. There are still limited literature on this social forestry, about the impact of social forestry on deforestation. In this study, we can only find the literature on village forest, but not yet in a customary forest. The first literature in the village forest is by Santika et al. They assess the impact of village forest in Sumatra Island. The subject of the study is the specific area of village forest, with the control group is the area which has proximity in the village forest. they develop propensity score matching to find the exact control group based on anthropogenic factors. They find out that village forest has a significant factor on reducing deforestation in Sumatra. The second literature is also by Santika et al. They assess the impact of village forests on deforestation as well as poverty reduction in Kalimantan Island. So the difference between those two literature, the second one used village as the unit of observation. They find out that village forest has significantly reduced deforestation as well as poverty reduction. In this case, they also use propensity score matching to find out the control group for the treatment, and they also use anthropogenic factor for the potential confounding. And the last one, this is the latest one, published in 2021. So the last one has different results compared to the previous literature. The study has assessed 3 schemes of social forestry, village forest, community forest, and people plantation forest. They obtained different results, which is social forestry has no impact on deforestation. The main difference between this literature than the previous two, they use the specific cluster area of the social forestry, while the control area is based on the indicative map of social forestry published by Ministry of Environment and Forestry. So there is no literature yet on customary forest. So based on this literature, we found some gaps. The first one, most of those two literature, they ignore village institution in the assessment, and also the area of the village, because village is the main socio-economic factor in the assessment, where the people live in the village also can influence not only the village forest area, but also the village overall. And the second one, they do not include a village fund in the assessment. I will explain later about village fund. And the third one, since customary forest has not been evaluated yet, so the objective of the study, we evaluate the impact of village forest and customary forest on deforestation. This is the mapping of the village forest and customary forest. So the blue one is the district which have village forest in there, and the brown, orange, it is a customary forest area. So the map in here is representing district area, where the subject of my study is a village area, so the smaller unit of administration. And the green one is the combination, is a district which have 2 schemes inside, such as North Morowali district, which have both schemes in there. So the method in here, the treated village is either customary forest or village forest. Customary forest is started in 2016 until 2019, and village forest, in this case, we only include the village that implemented started in 2015. Well, actually, village forest started in 2009. In here, we're trying to limit the potential problem from heterogeneity, because there is some presidential changes in 2014. So I will limit the assessment started in 2015 until 2019. And also started 2009 until 2015, the amount of village forest acknowledgement is still really limited. And we can see in the map that the scheme of the social forestry is some area inside of village. So there are still also some forest that's not included in the either scheme. So in this case, we select the control village based on the propensity score matching. We include some variables in there for the propensity score matching. All of this variable categorized as a time invariant variable. The first one is palm oil area, and the second one is protected area existence, multi-ethnicity, agricultural residue burning, and slope type of road access, and historical deforestation from 2010 until 2014 for village forest, or 15 for customary forest, and village cover in 2014. So this is the method for this study. So after doing the propensity score matching, then we utilize fixed effect difference in difference. Because the implementation of the policy is staging, it is added annually, gradually, from 2015 until 2019, or 2016 until 2019. And the treated area is dummy for social forestry, either village forest or customary forest. So we have two sets different data. The first one is for village forest analysis, and the second one is for customary forest. And then for the factor variable, it is some variable in there for village fund, standard temperature, standard precipitation, and population. Why we include why we use a two-way fixed effect in here? Because we try to control the potential confounding from the changing of regulation or policy in a central government or local government. And then after that, we continue the analysis using event study. So this event study is intended to find out the parallel trend, which is the assumption in the DID, difference in difference. So this is the data from the deforestation. So the deforestation is the annual percentage change of forest cover loss in this study. We obtained the data from Hansen Global Forest Change. So in this case, using 30 meters square of Lansen pixel with a tree of above 5 meters. And the threshold, we use higher threshold, which is 75% canopy cover. It means if in 1 pixel it has area less than 75% canopy cover, then the area is assumed as not a forest. And then we also drop the highest 1% to avoid the potential bias from that problem. So this study combined data from several resources. We also include temperature and precipitation. This is also from NASA. So most of the data is the spatial data. So we need polygon file in the administration level, in the village level, to derive the data in the village level. Before going further, I need to explain about village fund, because we also control village fund in this study. Village fund is started in 2015. This is one of the program by current president. So our village is the lowest level administration office in Indonesia. They have a rural and urban village. Village fund is only intended for rural village. And the purpose of the village fund is to accelerate development in the village. They can use the funding for financing governance and development assistance and villager empowerment. And currently, in 2019, each village they receive around 93,000 Australian dollar. So government keep increasing the amount of the village fund. So the channel from the central government, they transfer the money, the fund to the local government, and then local government they will transfer to each village based on the sum formula, which is basic allocation plus the adjustment formula, including population, poverty rate, the area, and also geographical difficulties. This is the result. So based on this result, we can find out that village forest and customary forest have significantly reduced deforestation in the 5% level. Customary forest has a higher level than village forest. And based on the summary statistic, in the village forest data, the average deforestation is 1.11%, while the customary forest data, it is 1.70%. It means in the customary forest data, they have higher baseline for the deforestation. So the impact in the village forest is 9.7%, and in the customary forest is 24%. And then the second finding is the village fund. Village fund turns out also affecting the deforestation. They can reduce the deforestation in this case. And then the next one, this is part of the checking of the parallel trend study as the requirement for the DID. In here we can see that village forest has initial impact. In here we can see that the village forest initially reduced the deforestation, but after 2 years of the implementation, they returned to the initial level of deforestation. This is different than customary forest, where in the after the implementation, they still in the lower trend. In conclusion, social forestry has a positive impact on reducing deforestation in Indonesia. So it implies the potential impact of co-benefit, which is improving village welfare. And then the second one, village forest scheme has only a temporary effect. So I think government needs to enhance the policy, maybe through continuous assistance and guidance. And then customary forest area are still really limited. And I think it needs some innovation to accelerate the coverage of the customary forest. In this study, we also find that village fund reduced the deforestation rate. However, the sample in this study is limited on the village forest and customary forest. So we need to extend the sample to verify the result further with the village fund significantly reduce deforestation in Indonesia or not. Okay, that's all my presentation. Would like to have some comment or feedback, please.
Yeah, thank you, Rizky. So it's time for Q&A. I think it's important for him to get input on his work. Yeah.
You told that about the customer forest. So before you said it started at 2015, right?
Customary Forest started in
Yes.
2016.
Yes. So before that, the forest right belongs to the state or belongs to the village.
Yeah.
So after that, they just give the right to the individual farmers, right? Is that me?
Mhm. So for the customary forest,
Yeah.
it also involves the transfer of ownership.
Yeah.
Initially, the forest is belong to the government, and then started in 2015 after long battle in the court that customary people they want to be acknowledged that the forest is belong to them because they are already living there for decades, for a long time ago, and then after the acknowledgement of customary forest policy, customary people they start having the ownership of the forest.
So I want to know, you said that the village forest, they get the fund from the government, right? But you mean that the village forest, yeah, they get the fund from the government, from the central government, right?
Mhm.
So how about the customer forest? They didn't get any fund from private or government sector.
We don't consider
The fund, yeah.
Fund, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
From the government or private sector, right?
Yeah, they have for this all of the social forestry. They get assistance and guidance from the government through the local government, and also there are some collaboration with private sector, which is state and forestry state. Forestry state owner, this is like unit of company belong to the government, state independent.
So the only thing that could encourage them to reduce their right is about the right, the forest right,
Mhm.
because they have the right to
Yeah,
manage the forest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by acknowledging the customary forest, it means they also entitled to manage the forest independently with the long owner with the full ownership. It means they do not be afraid if someone else or some company they try to take the forest.
Thank you.
Are there any restrictions placed? You go into the scheme, you've been awarded the property rights,
Mhm.
you're going to get funded through it, got some money to help you manage this now because you weren't managing it before, so now you have. Are there any restrictions on how they manage it at all? Is there any expectations that they don't deforest it? No. Or are they allowed now to manage it entirely as they wish?
So they have some limitation for the social forestry, and also depends on the type of forest that they've been allocated, because this social forestry is also cover production forest, protection forest, and also conservation forest. But conservation forest is only in the customary forest, and one of the strictly prohibited is hunting palm oil. They also cannot change the function of the forest. So they can get timber products if the forest is in the production forest.
So was that included in the regression results as to what type of forest this village had been awarded?
No, in that case, I control in the PSM, in the province discord meeting.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Rizky. I think you mentioned a couple of things about social forestry. Even though it started in 2009, you have looked at from 2015 to 19 data, right? And you mentioned something about 2014, which did not allow you to use perhaps the earlier time frame, or whatever that event is. That's one thing. I'm a little bit interested in the similar question that Michael asked, the mechanism by which these social forestry schemes allow villagers to protect forests in a better way. which means are they reducing their consumption from forest, or they are controlling outsiders to get into the forest, so now it is better protected? Or what's the underlying mechanism that allow them to manage the forest in a better way so it is less deforested, right? That's one thing. The second is, if they are heavily reliant on forest for forest product as an example, and they might have a plan how much forest product they can extract in a given year, and if their demand is higher than what is given from forest, how they are managing that. So, which basically means, are they going to the public forest or government forest, or is there some sort of leakage happening in terms of those things? I don't know, your data is not about that, but it would be good to understand the mechanism, how the effect is being reflected there.
Yeah, thanks for the question. The first one regarding why ARE use data from 2015. The first reason is before 2015, the number of village forests is still really limited. And the second one, there is a changing of government and also the priority, because our current president has a background as a forest people. He used to work in the forest. That's why he has a bigger priority about forest sustainability. And the second one is about
the second one is perhaps is there leakage happening, and then they are protecting the forest they now have because of the property rights, and they are somewhere else. You mentioned you control for that through propensities for matching, means the public forest, and you are comparing with public forest nearby the village forest, right?
Yeah.
So that sort of phenomena is not happening as you control for, I would assume.
Yeah. Think about that. I will try to figure it out later.
Because in general, what happens is, depending on their dependency on the forest resources, if it is providing enough resources for the villagers, then perhaps they have a management plan. Whatever they can extract in a given year might have been prescribed, and those things might be there. But sometimes those sort of leakages, or you protect in one area, but you are damaging the other area, that can happen in that sort of setting. So I'm just curious whether those sort of things are there or not. But your data, when you compare, at least in theory, that is not happening. Let me check it.
Run the regulation with the control group is omitted the surrounding fields, but all of the control group in this study is in the same sub-district, which is the lower level after district, sub-district, and then village. And I also test the effect if I exclude the surrounding fields in the study. I also found the significant result.
So your controls are coming from that joining area, right?
Yeah.
That joining area, sorry.
Thanks, Rizky. It's an interesting study, and you've done a nice analysis there. I think one thing that's coming through from the questions is that for this type of presentation, it would be good to provide more background, I think, more sort of just setting up an explanation of the context.
Yeah.
You sort of dived into the analysis you had some background, but you went quickly into the analysis.
Yeah.
I think we're all wondering, okay, but tell me more about the context. How does this really work? So that's sort of a general comment. Can we go to the dynamic results on the screen where you have that one? When you had those up, you drew some conclusions.
Yeah.
And you expressed them quite strongly. Like you were saying, it sort of shows that it's only temporary, or that it's not temporary. And I just thought you should be a little bit cautious in how strongly you made those statements or draw those conclusions, because it's quite short time frames, right?
Yeah.
And even so, the last one on the right there, you've got the last data point. It looks like it might be going up, right? So maybe that one's temporary too. It's hard to really know.
Yeah.
So It's just about how. I mean, the thing with research is to be as honest as you can be about how much you can say about what you've learned, right? That's one of the things about research. So I just thought you've been a little bit too black and white on that.
Yeah, thank you for the input, David.
And can we go back to the one where you had the 9.7 and 24%? That one? Can you explain what that is? So 9.7%. What is 9.7% of what?
So this number, 0.108 is from this number, from the village forest.
Okay, that's your estimated parameter of the effect of having the village forest scheme in place on the rate of clearing.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's the 1.11%?
This is the average of deforestation before the policy implementation in 2010 until 2014.
1.11%.
Yeah, so it's like the annual deforestation.
Okay. I know you explained it, but I just didn't keep up as you were going through. Okay, thank you. That's helpful. I've got one more sort of context question.
Mm-hmm.
Why is the forest being cleared? For what purpose? What are they doing with? Are they gathering wood and selling the wood, or are they burning it in the home, or is it clearing it to plant agriculture? What's the clearing for?
It can be one of them.
All of those.
Yeah.
Okay. Part of the background to explain.
Yeah, I need to explain.
I have some question about the fundings. It's only for the village forest. You know, they were receiving some fundings.
Funding?
Yeah, the 93,000.
Oh, village fund funding.
Yeah, it's only okay.
This one? Yeah.
Yeah, that's something which goes with time, and it was only one lump sum that was allocated.
It is allocated every year in.
Every year.
Yeah, from the central budget, and then they transfer to the local government, and then the local government distributed for each village based on some formula, which is population, poverty rate, the area, and geographical difficulties.
But that's not tied to any performance with reducing deforestation.
No, it's not. Yeah. So the mechanism, I'm thinking for the village fund, in this case, it can be direct or indirect channel. The first one, if the direct channel, it can be occurred when the village they use the money for supporting like forest patrol or even social forestry application, or maybe the assistance to strengthen the social forestry, and the indirect channel can be happen when the village they have like a social they like have a people empowerment program like cash for work like that. And then because people get money from that, it means they will not commit to deforestation because they have the income from that job.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, my question is just for clarification, because
Yes.
I'm still wondering what's the differences between the two programs, village forest and customary forest, because when you say that this kind of scheme is kind of not conditional on actions or results, so just like the payment, but who are eligible to be part of the program? That's my first question. The second question, okay, if you, let's say that the government, were these programs based on property right, then I'm eligible to be part of the programs. Then with village forest, can I say is like the management unit would be village, but customary forest programs based on private landholder, is it correct?
It's a group of customary people.
So both of them are based on groups of people. So the village funds will go through village?
No, village fund is a different different than those two schemes.
So it's top up payment on.
No, village fund is transferred to whole village, to the whole rural village in Indonesia. That's why I think it needs to be controlled in this study.
So every village is getting the fund, irrespective of whether or not they're signed into these programs?
Yeah, from the village fund.
So the village fund isn't related to village forestry, it's just
Yeah.
a standard payment that's coming to the village?
Yeah, so it depends on the village whether they want to spend it on
Okay, they can spend it on it.
infrastructure or on other.
Yeah, so it's some general development fund, and it might be a proxy for sort of government capacity or governance capacity within the village, and also sort of employment opportunities that there are in the village.
But it could also be used to actually resource protection of the
It
forest,
could
if
be,
Yeah.
you're in the scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be done, yeah. So there could be an interaction, to about it.
The interpretation of your model is that this funding coming through is reducing the need to deforest. Because they're getting, the more money you're getting from this blanket payment that's just turning up, everybody is presumably just reducing their deforestation. So it's not linked to this, it's not.
Yeah, it's not linked to the scheme.
Which is what I have to call for.
Question about, if you go back to slide 13 with all of the before after figure, yeah. So looking at period 3 and 4 in the village forest, it looks like at that point you have some probably large extremes in your data, and I'm thinking like maybe for future qualitative research, not part of your PhD, it might be interesting to dig into some of those extremes to figure out. It looks to me as though maybe some villages decided to completely clear their forest, and then others decided to completely leave their forest intact. It might be interesting to kind of I'm kind of curious to know, have you actually dug into that? Have you looked at the extremes in your data at that point to see, have some villages completely deforested and have some left completely intact, just given how big your error bar is on the data there, to figure out maybe what's driving that? Are they getting approached by industry to make a deal? Are they turning to agriculture? Like why is that happening?
So in this case, we need to notice that in here, this is not really that big. These are 0.5%.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But still, so I guess it's showing you that there's a large rate and that some are maybe increasing their forestation and some are deforesting it very, like still it's growing at quite a large rate. So it might be interesting to look at what happens when you transfer ownership over. Are some villages over time maybe just taking payments to deforest again, or maybe are some villages making very good decisions and others are making very bad decisions? It might be interesting to dig into that a bit more, just given how much the variance increases over time.
Yeah.
And going back to my first comment, they're not significantly different from the period when it was clearly reduced,
Yeah.
because you've got such a big variance there. You can't say it was temporary, I don't think, with confidence.
Like I wonder if there's two paths going out from there at that point, maybe if there's like, or multiple paths going out.
What's happened at time -1? That's an error bar, isn't it, that we're seeing? Is that right? Time -1.
There's the black line going from the top to the bottom.
1 year before the policy implementation.
Yeah, that bar, it doesn't look like that bar is there. Or you may not have the data, is that right?
Yeah.
So how do I do? So that isn't a data point, that's just a marker to say at time -1 you have no observations.
What's the bar indicate?
It's sort of start of the policy.
Is that for example,
Why isn't that happening at time 0?
for village forest, with your event is 2015, is that right?
Yeah, for the village forest is
That's 15, and for this one it is 2016, right?
Yeah.
So you have data for, let's say, 2013, 12, 11, 10, and 9, but not for the 14 in that case, right?
2014 is -1.
You mentioned something about 14, but
It depends on the village implementation of the village forest, because some of them they implemented in 2015, some in 2016, and so on until 2019.
okay.
So it is gradually included in the.
So we might follow Michael's point. What does zero mean? What happens at zero?
Zero mean, let's say if a village they implemented the village forest in 2015, it means zero is in 2014. 2015. Yeah.
So zero is the first year of the
First
policy.
year of the policy.
There's nothing special about -1. -1 is just the level of deforestation that you've estimated for the year before they had the scheme.
Yeah.
So why does it always have that massive bar on it?
Because it's the start of the policy.
So we just.
But we haven't got
So
an
It's not an error bar.
So is that an error bar? Or is that a line delineated?
It's a line up.
But where's the error bar?
It's just a line to get you right.
We need another line there.
Yes, we have it.
So, this one.
That is -1.
Yeah. And what is
That's
this
the
one?
beginning of the policy, and then okay.
Just the output from the starter.
So what worries me is that that all that's happened is that the diagram's been scaled and cut off the tick marks on the tops. So what I'm wondering, is that an artifact of the scaling on the figure? And that if you actually made it wider, we'd actually see tick marks, and then we'd be asking other questions about why it's so variable at year -1. But if it's not that, then why is it just, it's the same data point, it's got the same marker.
The line's a bigger weight though. It's a different type of line and different color. Yeah.
So
It's not an error bar.
It's not an artifact of Stafford then, it's an artifact, you've decided to put that line on there.
It appears that you've standardized something at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
Everything is zero at that point in time.
Yeah.
That's the event. I think that's the event year.
Yeah.
So that's how you consider. Which means, for example, for village forest, it's the 2015 is considered as an event year.
Yeah.
And what happened before that and what happened after that. For the customary forest, that is 2016, right?
Yeah.
When it started first.
Yeah.
But why do you do that at year -1 rather than zero?
Yeah, that's also, yeah.
The yield event should be zero.
Okay, so Rizky, the bottom line is here.
Yeah.
There's some confusion.
I will explore with there, but
Work with the supervisors to get it clear.
But I think the other conclusion you had in terms of the trends, in terms of the village forestry one, I don't think you at the moment can make the claim that after a period of time it reverts, because statistically they're all zero. I mean, it's the rates of
Nothing's different from zero. Anything from -2 through the end is nothing is not significantly different from zero.
So it's just, I think there is something happening at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's clear.
Do all the villages actually give you observations for year 3 and 4? Or are some of them so late into the scheme that you've got very few observations?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many other villages have you got in the scheme which have actually been in there for 3 and 4 years?
Number of observations.
So it means if a village included in the +3 in the 3 or 4 years in here, it means they have already implemented in either 2016 or 2017.
So how many villages do you have that have been in there for that long?
Not many, I think around.
So that's why I think you're getting the huge bar, is just because as you're going through, you're actually effectively losing sample size. There's lots of people who have recently done, but those last estimates as to how big the effect is could be just on a relatively small number.
Relatively small number.
Because there's hardly any who've actually been in the scheme that long.
Isn't it just the other way around? I would assume that when you say staggered entry, so a few number of villages or a few number of village forests started in 2016.
In here, this is time, not here. So this is what it means 1 year before, 2 years before implementation, 4 years before implementation. And this one is period after implementation?
Yeah, that's the rate, right? Deforestation
Yeah,
rate,
yeah.
what you are measuring.
Yeah.
What I'm, just my confusion there is, let's say the program started in 2015, and then only 5 villages have taken part, or only 5 village forests were established. And then when it comes to 2016, you have few more village forests were created. This is just my guess. And then you have 7 number of village forests in your sample. And then that is representing the average deforestation rate for those 7, right?
Yeah.
And in the same way, number of observations would be increasing as you go towards the latter year. Is that?
No, I think that this is relative to when the village started.
Yeah.
So
It's years in the program.
It's years in the program rather than. So if you've been in the program for 4 years, you're contributing to the last bar.
Yeah.
But there's very few,
yeah.
but there may be very few that have actually been in there
Yeah.
for 4 years. There's lots who've been in for 1 year, at least 1 year.
No, I would assume that that's for 35-year program, so they will stick in the program until that contract ends, right? Once they started.
Yeah, they will stick in the program.
Yeah.
I think you need to label your x-axis more clearly.
So-
Just saying time doesn't really tell us what it is,
Yeah.
given what we now know.
So from that logic, I would think that those who started in year 1 are keeping.
Just, okay, this is
Yeah.
great fun. Is it the case that a village will contribute multiple times to that graph? As in, we're going to see what they were doing in deforestation in year 1, and then in year 2, and then in year 3 and year 4. If they were in the program for 4 years, will we actually see their contribution to deforestation in this graph in all 4 of the bars that are going?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that's why we're seeing it. That's why there's more people in there. There's lots of people who've got a year 1 effect. Not many people have got a year 4 effect because they need to be in there a long time. So I reckon that's why your bar's blowing out. It'd be interesting to check to see how many you've got in the time periods.
That makes me feel even more strongly. You need to really clearly label that axis. I had no idea that's what it was showing.
It's working beautifully in the sense that the bars are just spreading out.
So, okay, so given that that's what it's showing us, what does the negative number represent?
Reducing deforestation.
Area increased.
On which axis?
Yeah.
The deforestation rate is decreasing compared
Sorry,
to the
negative time. What is
Yeah,
a
negative
negative time?
before previous.
negative time. This is free.
Okay,
Yeah.
so each village is therefore in all the data, in every data point.
Yeah, that's why the confidence intervals are so consistent going backwards. I have a consistent story now.
Okay.
And
But
then
it
they
is a little bit worrisome to see that the dots are going up immediately after 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Whereas the program is there for 35 years, right? So,
But the program does not stipulate no deforestation.
Yeah.
okay. So then if you look at for 10 years, for example, then even if with this sort of a scheme, deforestation is not halting, it might be going up. We possibly might see that. Right?
And that might be a story for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is why I think it's still interesting to think about the type of forest. Because even though you're saying you're controlling the type of forest by matching, I could still make a story which said if you've allocated property rights to a production forest under the scheme, I don't expect to see any change in, because now it's the village are controlling it, and that's great, and they're getting the benefits from the deforestation.
There's no reason to stop clearing.
No reason to stop clearing, because it's just a production forest. So I'm wondering whether you would see any interaction effect on your scheme variable by type of forest. Because I reckon that.
How do you pick up type of forest?
I thought that was in one of the controls, wasn't it? Haven't you got data on what type of
No,
forest
I only included in the
you got, did you sort of say you had some information about what type of forest was in the village? Because you were using it as a control factor.
So what do you mean by type of forest?
Whether it's production, conservation.
It's probably impossible to pick up from satellite image.
You mentioned something on the 75%, I think, but that's for forest or not forest.
Yeah, I only include in the province discrimination regarding this type. So in this case, I only use dummy variable whether in a village they have a protected area, which is forest protection forest or not.
And also we can see, I think, palm oil area and protected area existence, which could, and there is also agricultural use burning. I think this could be kind of different land use types.
We want to know the type of forest.
Okay.
My understanding from the comment report was that you could be allocated, your allocated forest, which is now under your management, and that there might be different types of forest within the area you've been allocated. But if that isn't true, if you can't identify it, then obviously you can't deal. I thought you were saying that you could identify it.
It might be picked up by the fixed effects. You can't differentiate. It's just forest cover. I mean, it's a massive database.
Could you go forward one slide? Go forward one.
Forward one.
Next one. Forward.
You go
Forward. Other way, right? The thing there we say 1%. Keep going. Are you going towards the beginning or towards the end? Go towards the end.
I think slide 9.
Oh.
Why did you drop the 1%? I didn't understand what you were saying there.
Because they have really high deforestation in that village. Most of the area is already been cleared. That's why I dropped this village from this unit of observation. They have experienced more than 75% deforestation. So rather than include it in this study that could obtain the biased result, that's why I dropped this 1%.
That was sort of qualitatively different from the other 99% villages.
Yeah, because in the PSM, Propensity Score Matching, I also include the historical deforestation from 2000 to 2010 until 2014. If the if the village has really high deforestation, it will be dropped eventually by the Propensity Score Matching process.
So what does the highest 1% means?
The highest deforestation. The village that has experience of
Deforestation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rizky.